Hello everyone. Now, in the lecture series of satellite communication and networking, we are in the last session we have discussed or we have started about Unit 6, that is the space segment, and we have discussed the four topics regarding that space segment. Now, in today's session, we are going to discuss again two types of segments in the space segment. First, that is for thermal control, and second, that is for required communication purpose, that is communication subsystems, and that is antenna. Topics to be covered in the following session are the thermal control, communication subsystems, and the antenna subsystems. Now, thermal control. So basically, what is the thermal control and why it is needed of? So when we see that the satellite is constantly rotating on its on the around the earth, where it requires the power, and the various operations are performed between the various blocks in the satellite system, right? So for the operation in the satellite system, it requires the power supply which is obtained through the solar power, right? So when we talk about the thermal control, what we need to maintain that particular temperature in space, so that we can control the signals coming from the satellite. So the satellites are subjected to thermal gradients, receiving the sun radiation on one side while the other side faces into the space. So as I have said that the thermal control, the power we need to do power radiates, right? So the power radiation can be obtained from the sun's radiation, from the solar panels, right? So the large thermal gradients are obtained on the solar radiations as well as on the other phases into the space. In addition, thermal radiations from the earth and earth albedo, that is nothing but the earth crust, that is surface, which is the fraction of radiating falling on the earth which is reflected, can be significant for low altitude earth orbiting satellites. So the thermal control is very necessary for the low orbit, that is LEO satellites, right? And although it is negligible for the geostationary satellite, as we know that it is constantly moving to the earth, right? And it does not have atmospheric effect on geostationary satellite, where for the LEO stationary LEO's orbits, that is low earth orbit, what we required is the thermal radiation from the earth and the earth's albedo, that is earth's surface, right? So what we do need to do is we need to have thermal gradients for particular low earth orbiting satellites. Equipment in the satellite also generate hits which has to be removed. So there are various subsystems in the satellite, right? And they all are running in a parallel way, right? So they all will require power supply, and for with the help of power supply they will also generate the heat, right? So the most important consideration is that the satellite equipment should operate as nearly as possible in the stable temperature environment. So what we need to do is we need to control the temperature of the space subsystems, right? So that there will be a no unstable temperature, and due to that there will be a no fault or no risk occurs in the various parts. Various steps are taken to achieve this. Thermal blankets and shield may be used to provide insulations. So for preventing thermal control, what we are doing is we are providing thermal blankets and shield on the space segment to provide that insulations. Radiation mirrors are often used to remove heat from the communication payloads. So whenever there will be a communication payload, that is nothing but our antenna system. So what we are using it, we are using the radiation mirrors. So based on this radiation mirror, what will happen due to radiation mirrors, it will reflect all the rays and it will remove the heat from the payloads. One advantage of spinning satellite compared with body stabilized is that the spinning body provides an averaging of the temperature extremes, experience the solar flux and the cold background of the deep space. right? So this is the advantage of spinning satellite, which is moving around its own axis and which is parallel to the north south direction of the earth surface, right? So what it will have the advantage, that is due to spinning, the temperature of the body will be at the will be in the average time, right? So at the whole body it will be a deviated, or it will be distributed from the whole body, as it is spinning continuously, spinning on its axis, right? So the solar flux will be distributed over the whole body, and so that the temperature, extreme temperature, will not go on beyond the temperature. In order to maintain constant temperature conditions, heater may be switched on, usually on command from the ground. So whenever we need to maintain the constant temperature, what we need, we are switch on the heaters. And how we are generating the heaters? By giving the command from the earth station to keep up the heat reduction, which occurs when the transponders are switched off, when the communication doesn't take place. Next, going to the second topic, that is communication subsystems. So previously what we have discussed, that is the thermal control and how the temperature can be maintained constant at that particular space for that particular space segment. Now going with the communication subsystems. So the communication subsystems provide the receive and transmit coverage for the satellite. So what does the communication system will do? So it will provide that particular path, or you can say bandwidth, at which the satellite will cover and recover for transmitting and receiving the signals. And the communication system, it consists of what? Communication antenna and a communication repeater. So for generating that particular signal, it will create a repeater. The communication antenna serves as an interface between a station on the ground and various satellite subsystems during operations, right? Next, the main function of antenna is to provide shaped uplink and downlink beams, which is called as radiation pattern, for transmission and reception of communication signals in the operating frequency band. So it is the main function for communication, that is nothing but our antenna, which is used for transmitting as well as receiving of signals. So it will provide a better radiation pattern of uplink, that is for transmission purpose, and for downlink, that is for reception purpose, right, in which we are operating our application. The antenna may be used to provide a signal link for a TTC and M subsystems. So the antenna, with the help of antenna signals, also TTC and M, that is telemetry, tracking, command and monitoring subsystem, will also be monitored from the earth stations. Clear? Now going with the third type, that is the antenna subsystem. Now first of all, what is antenna? So a metallic apparatus for sending and receiving electromagnetic waves. So what is an antenna? So antenna, basically it is a metallic apparatus, or you can say a metallic component, which is used for sending, or that is transmitting or receiving which type of waves? That is electromagnetic waves. So antenna will always radiate an electromagnetic waves. A usually metallic device as a rod or a wire for radiating or receiving radio waves. This is the another definition for antenna, right? So again it is the same as the first definition, in which we are using instead of talking about electromagnetic waves, here we have said the radio waves, which are also the frequency of electromagnetic waves. And last, an antenna is a transitional structure between free space and the guiding structure, right? So beyond, we can say with the antenna, all the filters and cables are attached, and various blocks are attached with the antenna, right? So antenna, what will do? It will transmit the signals in the free space, and the same way the receiving antenna will receive that particular signal and then pre-process using the guiding structure, right? So it is a transitional, or you can say middle part between the free space and the guiding structure. Now, talking about the types of antenna. So basically, when we talk about the antenna, there are four types of antenna. First, that is linear wire. Second, that is horn antenna. third that is reflector antenna, and fourth that is array antenna. So these are the four basic types of antenna. There are various examples under these all the four classifications, right? Now when we talk about the linear wire antenna, so one of the most commonly used antenna are the wire antenna. They can be found in vehicles, ships, aircrafts, buildings, and etc. Wire antennas comes in different shapes and size, like straight wire, you can say as dipole, which is shown in this figure, or either in a loop form, circular loop form, or in the form of helical structure, that is helix. So these all are the examples of linear wire antennas. Now, as you can see in this figure, the rod which you can see in a vertical direction, which is a dark black line, that is the dipole. And on the horizontal direction, which it is given, that is called as feed, in which we are giving the power. So the direction in which we are feeding the power, in that particular direction it will generate the radiation pattern, and as it is the said dipole, so it will generate the pattern in the same direction as well as in the opposite direction, means 0 degree and 180 degree, both having the same radiation pattern. Now talking about the next, that is horn antennas. So one of the most popular antenna is the horn antenna, which affects the transition between transmission line and wave propagating in a free space. So the horn antenna are the most important or essential antenna for the satellite point of view, right? It acts as a natural extension to the waveguide. They have many forms of horn whose aperture are square, rectangular, circular, etc. Now, here you can see the rectangular pyramidal horn, where here it is a waveguide through which we fed the power supply, and when we fed the power supply, the signal will be transmitted from this rectangular guide, right? Rectangular aperture. So these you can see where it is. So whenever you for the best example of horn antenna you see, it is your home dish TV, right? So dish TV will have a reflector antenna, and reflect on the reflector antenna there will be a some pyramidal horn type antenna, or you can say circular horn type, where all the signals are receiving at particular focus, reflected by that particular reflectors antenna. Now, moving on to the third type, that is called as reflectors antenna. So at microwave frequency, the physical size of antenna becomes so small to practically construct metallic curved reflectors to produce desired gain and directivity. Now here you can see two figures, right? Two types of antenna, parabolic reflector and Casarian reflector. Now what is parabolic reflector? So here it is a parabola, same as your dish antenna at your home. So this is your parabolic reflector. This is your horn antenna. What it will do, the satellite signals will come on and fall on these signals, and parallelly, and these signals will focus on this particular horn antenna at particular angle. So it will be received with the help of that horn antenna and will passed on to their particular TV signals. In the Cassegrain antenna, what it will do, it will have a two radiators, right? First, it will have a this is the primary radiator, this is the main reflector antenna, and this is the sub reflector antenna. So what it will do, the signals will come onto this, it will radiate on the sub reflector antenna, and then the sub reflector antenna and signals will radiate to this horn antenna, right? And horn antenna through the signals will attach to that particular signal. So these are the reflector antenna which we see at the earth station, or you can say basically on the ground. The practical antennas used are parabolic reflectors, paraboloid, microwave dish, and etc. And last, that is array antenna. So when there is what do you mean by, first of all, array? The same kind of elements are connected in series or parallel, that is called as array antennas. So when we talk about the array antennas, then array antenna is composed of multiple element arrays. For example, linear array, area array, and non-formal array. The element antennas are half wavelength dipole, microstrip patches, and waveguide slot. The advantage of array antenna are to enable beam scanning, without changing the looking angle of each array antenna, and to generate the appropriate beam shaping by selective excitation of current distribution of each element. So these are the advantages of array antenna. Now, as you can see in this figure, this is the whole substrate. The square you see is the whole substrate, and the dot you see in the middle of they are having the same antenna, right? So each antenna are connected in series as well in parallel connection, which is called as array antenna. Now, there are various definitions based on antenna. So first, that is radiation intensity. So what is called as radiation intensity? So it is defined as the power per unit solid angle. Now, whenever we are talking about the antenna, we measured the angle in terms of solid angle. So it will have a unit that is omega rather than the degrees, right? The second, that is directive gain, which is the most important for antenna. So what is the directive gain? So at which particular direction there is a maximum power radiated, that is called as directive gain. So the ratio of power density radiated in that direction by an isotropic antenna to that by an directional antenna. So the gain will be given by power density in isotropic divided by power density in directional antenna. Third, that is directivity. Directivity comes from the directive gain. So it is the maximum directive gain which is obtained in only one direction in which the radiation is maximum. Then third, that is power gain, that which is denoted by AP. So power gain of an antenna is defined as the ratio of power fed to an isotropic antenna to the power fed to the directional antenna to develop the same field strength at the same distance in the direction of maximum radiation. So power gain, that is equal to power fed to isotropic divided by power fed to directional antenna. That's same as directive gain. And AP is denoted by eta D, where eta is called antenna efficiency and D stands for directivity. Next, that is bandwidth of antenna. So it is defined as the frequency range over which the operation is satisfactory. If I say the bandwidth of our satellite signal is C band, that is from 4 to 6 gigahertz. So the bandwidth will be 6 minus 4, that is 2 gigahertz. Clear? So that is the bandwidth. And last, that is antenna gain. So it is a measure of directionality of an antenna. It is defined as a power output in a particular direction compared to that produced in any direction by perfect omnidirectional antenna. Effective area related to physical size and shape of antenna. And the relationship can be given as G is equal to 4 pi AE divided by lambda square, where AE, that is called as effective aperture area. That is 4 pi f square, lambda that is equal to C by f. So it will be inverted as it is inversely proportional. So 4 pi f square AE by C square. So it is given the relation in between wavelength also and in frequency also, where G is the antenna gain, A is that is effective area, C that is carrier frequency, F that is carrier frequency, C that is speed of light, which is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, and lambda, that is your carrier wavelength. So that's all for today's session. In this session, we have discussed again 3 subparts of space segment, that is thermal control, communication subsystem, and antenna subsystem. Right now, in the next session, we are going to discuss, that is telemetry, tracking, command, and monitoring. So that's all. Thank you.